Hello, this is River Yeo. Welcome to the Yeo I Collective's YouTube channel, where I usually talk about GAPS and things like that. My baby is going through the jars in our pantry over there. Say hi. Hi. I was just inspired listening to the Homegrown podcast. They were talking about what they actually eat, what their idyllic breakfast, lunch, dinner is. And I think there's something really nice about just practically thinking about what happens in a day or what's actually in your pantry. One of my favorite parts of Dr. Natasha's GAPS book is when she describes like a normal day on GAPS, like what you might have for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner. So I might do that one day, but this is similarly, I'm just gonna show you everything that's in my fridge, that's in my pantry, and that's on my counter. Because I think sometimes just thinking about listening to what other people eat, I'm just like, whoa, that couldn't be more different from what I eat. So I was on GAPS for a year before I had Hosanna, and that was enough for me. And I've been great ever since. That was almost a year and a half ago that I came off of GAPS, or maybe more, 2 years. So I still eat very basic ingredients, but I am not on GAPS anymore. So for example, on my counter today, somebody just gave me this homemade zucchini bread. Oh, did you fall down? Oh, so sad. Hold on. Okay, Hosanna's gonna help show us around as well. So anyway, this zucchini bread, was it made with Nourishing Traditions recipe? No, absolutely not, because this friend who made this bread has no idea what that is, and that's okay. So I will not, make bread this way or buy bread this way, but if someone gives it to me, I'm gonna eat it, unless, I'm feeling sick or something, which I never do. This is some spices on my wall. I do have some shaky spices, but honestly, usually when I'm seasoning things, I use the same, 2 ingredients. Some lard, there's some lard there in this bucket. I never do, this is the first time I've ever gotten lard that was rendered before it was rendered for me. I always render my own, but we had a strange circumstance. And then the other ingredient is salt. That's my salt cellar right over here next to the coffee. Don't be confused, it's not sugar, it's salt. It's Redmond real salt. And honestly, I just season everything with that. And if I'm feeling fancy, I'll add some seasonings, but mostly that's all I do. On the stove right now, there's always something happening on the stove. Today, there's some meat stock. Let me show you. I do a lot of chicken meat stock because we have a local friend who has awesomely priced bulk chicken. You can see I have a little bunch of herbs sticking out the side, and I will let this cook just like a GAPS stew for 2 or 3 hours. It's almost there. You can kind of tell. Yeah, so those fresh herbs came from my CSA. Sometimes they give me a bundle of herbs and I'll just toss them straight into the pot. Sometimes I'll grab some from the garden as well if I'm feeling very inspired. But yes, that's basically it. Let me show you what else I have. Let's start with the lower cabinet. So in our family, this is the Yeo family, we have some Chinese blood in the family. And so this is a big container of rice. I will get big bags of rice from the Chinese food store, from the Korean food store. It's not necessarily organic. I don't even know what organic label means overseas, but I will traditionally soak it, which is what they did when I was visiting in China. They will soak their rice for a couple hours or something, and then rinse it at least 5 times, or preferably until the water runs clear. So that, I imagine, just like the soaking and sprouting of other things like oatmeal and grains, will wash out some of the anti-nutrients, and I'm sure decreases the arsenic. The arsenic amounts in there. So yeah, what else do we have in here? This is the cabinet that I reach for the least, I would say. And this is what has the most processed food. So I'm going to show you. I have some seaweed in here in a package. Because I've never harvested it from the ocean. I don't know what seaweed to get that won't give me a rash. Yes, I don't know about that stuff yet. I have a Chinese friend who said she was gonna teach me how to make sushi, so we got this seaweed. Yeah. She also bought me this thing of noodles, so, okay. My husband loves his noodles, so he will oftentimes have a little stash down here. I mean, he had noodles for the first time in months yesterday, because it was one of those odd situations. Da 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 da. That's right. Da 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 likes his noodles. Do you like being in the video? It's great. This is the Hosanna show. So what else do I have down here? So I have some millet, also from the Asian food store, as you can see. That I have no idea. I've never used this. I bought it for a recipe literally 2 years ago, and it's still here. Okay, we're gonna have to come back. I am back with an outfit change because it's day 2 of this film attempt. So, like I said, we have rice, we have seaweed, we have millet. I don't know what I'm gonna do with that. I do have some oats in here, rolled oats. They are organic, and I will soak those overnight if I'm going to use them. I even do that if I'm making granola from it, which is probably a bit extra, but then we have some sucanat. I use this honestly only for birthdays, in cakes, because it just doesn't make sense to me to heat honey, and this is slightly cheaper than maple syrup. And it's basically what raw sugar should be, is kind of what I call sucanat. It is evaporated cane juice from a sugar cane. So that's that. I actually don't believe that sugar is bad for you. It's kind of an unpopular opinion, but if it's natural, like honey, I don't think it's bad. I think it's actually good for you. And I've come to that conclusion because I'm breastfeeding my baby, and I can tell you from experience that breast milk is sweet. Sweeter than cow's milk, so therefore I don't think sweet things are bad for us. I have some dried mushrooms in here I happen to have bought from the Asian food store. That sounds good. With my friend. And I have some little dried anchovies. I don't remember if it was in Dr. Natasha's book or in Weston A. Price, but this is a great little snack. This is like the OG goldfish fish snack. It's literally just dried little fishes, salty, delicious, umami, really good for you. So yeah, little anchovies, why not? Product of Korea. Thanks, Korea. All right, let's move up to the next level. Here above my toaster oven, we have another cabinet with some things in it. So here I have a slightly disorganized version of my cabinet, but it is well used. I have a spice basket here with all kinds of spices. Over time, since I started GAPS, I have slowly replaced all my spices with organic spices, which I don't even trust this because it has a label on it. But I do buy it and I do use it. So what can I say? It's a spice. I got a bunch of those. I sometimes will get some from a local halal store to get some curry spices. And things like that. I do have a can of coconut milk. Sometimes I will keep that around, but not often because we don't grow coconuts here in Philadelphia. So if it's coming from far away, I try not to use it very much. I have a little sesame oil, seed oil that says naturally pressed pure. So hopefully it is. Again, it has a label, so do I trust it? No, but I didn't see them press these sesame seeds, but oh well. This is my husband's other guilty pleasure, chili oil. And I actually have in here, this is a fermented soybean chili oil. And I got some organic soybeans, black soybeans, which is the kind of soybean they use in this sauce, to try and replicate it in a non-seed oil way. But I have not yet gotten to that. So yeah, I have a nice big jar of honey here. This is a single source local honey, and that is very important because a lot of honey is contaminated with high fructose corn syrup these days, even if it's not on the label. If there's a label, it's a warning label, and it is very likely that it has been watered down, even if it says raw. I have a client who has been reacting to some raw honey she bought from a store, which is not single sourced, and she thought she was just reacting to honey, period, but I gave her some of this honey, and she did not react. So therefore, it seems as though a lot of honeys out there are not doing so hot. I do have some peanut butter. I do not eat this every day, but it's organic, no sugar added. The ingredients are organic peanuts and sea salt. This is ideal. If it's not sea salt, I will get no salt and then add my own salt, because salt is important. Pure sodium chloride is not the kind of salt that we are intended to live off of as humans, so I don't do it. What else do we have in here of note? We have some vanilla, it's organic. We have some baking powder with no added aluminum. That's probably a good idea. Yeah, those are some of the highlights, I guess. I recently got some freshly ground peanut butter. This is the first time I've done this. I've always thought it was a better idea. I was at Whole Foods, so why not? It was $5, which is a similar price to, I don't know, another container of peanut butter. And the ingredients are just peanuts, so I will add some of my own salt to this. Yeah. I have a lot of random herbs in here. I have some chamomile. This is a bulk chamomile from Frontiers. Yeah, Frontiers Co-op. From a store that I used to frequent. I have some burdock root here. I think my midwife must have told me to try that at some point. I don't know why else I would have it. I have some marshmallow root, which is really awesome if you get it in powder form in like cocoa or hot water. It tastes kind of like marshmallows, I gotta say. And it's medicinal. It's great for all your mucous membranes. I don't know much about herbs, but I'm beginning to learn, and that's some of the ones that are sitting in my cabinet. Okay, also on the top up here, way up here, there's some sesame seeds. And here we have some organic sprouted whole wheat flour. So I use only organic flour. This came from the store and not from a farmer, and so I don't trust it as much as the flour from my farmer. But it's sprouted, so I think that is a very convenient thing, because all of my grains I like to soak, ferment, or sprout before I use them. And so because this is already pre-sprouted before it's been ground, to what extent was it sprouted, I'm not sure, but it's convenient. So if I don't have the time to soak or ferment my dough for whatever recipe I'm using, or if it is a cake or it doesn't really make sense for me to soak it. I tried a sourdough chocolate cake once and it was okay, but it takes a lot more skill. So this is a second best for me. And I'm learning and growing in the baking department. I also have some medicinal dried Chinese medicine. You can tell I went to the Chinese food store recently with my friend. So that is that cabinet. Let's move on to the fridge. So this is my fermentation station up here. This is a nice calendar of my local farmer's cow. All right, let me stand up here. So up here we have my ferments. Let me turn this around. So we have some pickles. This is all pickles back here from cucumbers that people have given me, or from my produce CSA. We're not really into cucumbers, so we make pickles. They're all lacto fermented. You can see how this one kind of exploded a little bit and dripped down, but I've since wiped up the mess. This is some fermented radishes, which are our favorite ferment in this house. We have several jars of salsa or pickled peppers going. So this one is older, and this one was really heavy on the peppers. It seems to be. Let me show you a few things. You heard a little hiss as I opened it. So it has a little bit of some whitish yeasty stuff on top. It's very bubbly though. See it bubbling? It smells pretty strong. Usually salsa goes pretty quickly as far as fermentation goes. And so I usually pop it in the fridge after a certain amount of time to keep it. And I basically ate half of this and then just stuck it up on the fridge. And so because there's so much air, it was given the opportunity to do this secondary thing, which is not as ideal to eat. I could scoop the top of it off and then continue to eat the rest. It would be fine. But anyway, I digress. This is not what this video is about. I have some purple cabbage, old ferment in here. This ferment is months old and it is the most delicious thing ever, so I'm just eating it very slowly. It is not doing that yeasty thing on top because it's pretty robust. A salsa. Ooh. This is some water kefir that I have neglected. This is some fermented garlic. You can tell I'm getting low. I'm about to ferment a bunch more. And here's my OG ferment sauerkraut. This is just a cabbage with salt and water. That is quality stuff. So we'd like to incorporate these ferments into every meal as much as humanly possible. It's just a great way to seed the garden of our microbiome in our guts. This is a very honest tour of what is currently in the fridge. We share our home with some other folks and they have stuff in here too, but I will show you our shelf and what belongs to us. So in the door here, we don't have a lot of sauces. We don't have a lot of sauces. The one sauce I do have is this organic and unsweetened Primal Kitchen ketchup. And it's organic stuff. So it has no, questionable ingredients. I have some organic spicy brown mustard. Again, anything with a label on it I do not use every day, but it's good. This is some hot sauce that I made that's fermented and I put it in the fridge. Good for me. Good on me. And here's some half-eaten jar of pickles that I also put in the fridge because it was only half-eaten. Some apple butter from my church member who made these sweet little jars. This is from a conventional farm with, I don't know what kind of farming practices. And probably she put white sugar in here, but again, this is a rare thing. It was given to us. And so we support her little business and we have a little jar of it. Here I have my kefir grains and a bit of milk. And we have some tortillas that somebody left here with us. I should just throw these out because this is a just corn tortilla, not even organic. So it's full of glyphosate and I don't really want our family to eat that. I have some organic soy sauce here as well. Yeah. I prefer the J brand of, they really brew their soy sauce, I do believe. And if the soy is organic, then it shouldn't have glyphosate in it. And if it is traditionally fermented, then that should help to process out some of the estrogens and things that we don't want. Okay, next level up. I have a few eggs for that, there's only a few left, so I just toss them up here to clear the egg container. I have some raw cheese from our local farm. And honestly, this is some sweet coconut cultural stuff that my husband's mother smuggled to us across the border because it's nostalgic for him. So we dip into that for special occasions. This is some tomato sauce that I made from some tomatoes that my friends gave me. So sweet of them. And a few of them were from my garden too. Here we have some chicken broth. You can see it's very gelatinous. That's some meat stock in there. Let's see what else we have. We have some raw milk. Always. If there's no raw milk in the house, there's nothing in the house. I have some curry that I made with that coconut milk, some meat stock, and some curry spice from a local market, and some organic produce from our CSA. This is some more tomato sauce that I made from scratch. Gee, I should combine those. Okay, this is an old honey bottle that had a little bit of honey left in it, and so I put some vinegar and oil in it and just shook it up, and I use it sort of like a sweet salad dressing, homemade. I thought that was a great way to use up the last of the honey. This is our rice container from our rice cooker where I soak and cook my rice. Okay, let's get a little closer. I think this is some extra kefir for soaking my flour. This is some chicken from the meat stock that I made. I'll separate out the chicken in a separate container. This is a local yogurt with quality farm practices. You can see a little bit of aloe vera juice back here for medicinal uses, and my favorite soy sauce brand. Some more sauerkraut. I'm not sure why this is in the fridge. I think somebody just put it here, so I'm gonna put that back on top of the fridge. Make some more space. This looks like some more kefir, or maybe it's yogurt. Unsure. I make my own yogurt every week. I should label it really. This is some of these. That's a project. This is all CSA stuff back here. Zucchini, some greens, green onion, and some more fermented tomato salsa stuff. How many half full jars of tomatoes do I have? Okay, so that's that shelf. So down here, okay, I have some meat stock that I boiled together with some Chinese herbs to make some medicinal broth because we're stressed lately in transition. This is some bread that I soaked. This flour and kefir. It was sprouted flour, which I've never done before because it was all I had, and it turned out weird, as you can see. So it's kind of gummy in the middle, burnt on top. Didn't turn out. So I have some in here and some in here of that bread, and my plan is to make a dessert out of it, to make some Malva pudding cake inspired thing, because I refuse to waste this product that I have created, even though it tastes weird. I think if I cook it again, maybe I can redeem it. We'll see. And we have a little bit of some lentils back here that I again soaked, cooked them. These are some local eggs that we get from a reliable source. Some more Chinese medicine. Oh, some green beans. I'm discovering things in here. And that is all. That is what we have in our fridge. So on the counter, we have here some lard, because I cook everything in lard. Almost everything. We have some butter, because if I'm not cooking it in lard, I'm cooking it in butter. Usually I just use butter on my toast or perhaps in my eggs, but I use lard for everything, and I cook everything in lard. And this is my salt cellar, so I have some of my red mineral salt in there. I have a little bit of coffee in this container. I don't drink it every day, maybe once or twice a week, for fun. A little French press. And I have some kombucha SCOBY container, which has been neglected and I need to do something with. And that is all. In the freezer, we have literally nothing right now. Usually I have all these pastured chickens in here because I'll get 10 at a time, but we just ran out of the last one. So we're going back to the farm this weekend to get more. And we do have a little bit of the farm ice cream, which literally the ingredients are raw cream, raw milk, raw eggs, maple syrup, unsweetened chocolate, and real salt. How much better does it get? So, like I said, I don't believe that sugar is bad for you. I just think that processed sugar is bad for you. So, as evidenced by my ice cream choice. I think sometimes I forget how vastly different my daily rhythms are from most people. It's vastly different. Oh, hey, I didn't talk about this counter. I also have some cabbages, always. There's always some cabbages on here waiting to be chopped. In case I have company, I'll just start chopping a cabbage and just say, hey, chop this cabbage with me. I have a friend who's waiting, who wants to do it with me to learn, so I'm holding on to these for her. I have a big chunk of ginger here and a whole bowl of garlic, as you can see. I already did all my tomatoes, but there's a few random vegetables sitting out here. That's usually where I toss my extra vegetables. It's not perfect, but it is functional. This is how I feed my family, with pastured chicken. I used to do equal parts chicken, pork, beef, fish, but honestly, these days, I have slightly adjusted how we eat based upon what is affordable, and I will eat less of the more expensive cuts of meat. Something I usually do splurge on would be a little bit of scrapple, because it is very nutrient dense. They put some, I believe, some pork liver in there, and that's a very local Philly thing to have scrapple, so I'll have that in the freezer usually. But other than that, we have chicken. And once a week or once every other week, we'll have beef patties, we'll have some hamburgers, and I'll get some just canned fish that's from Alaska, that's fresh from the ocean or the rivers, not from a farm. Usually has bones in it, so now I just take the bones out. Apparently that would be great to put in my tomato garden, so next year's tomato patch is going to be full of fish extra bits. But yeah, I don't do a ton of variety in my meats. Obviously, I think that great animals that graze and have 5 stomachs and very complicated digestive systems, like a cow, are actually really great to eat. That red meat is fantastic. It's good for you, and I like to make some liver pate with beef liver probably once a month, and for that reason. So I will bank in on the nutrient-dense liver and organ meats, and apart from that, I'm just getting whole chickens in bulk because it's affordable. That's what I make my meat stock from. And like I showed you guys, I just have a container of chicken that's pre-cooked. Once a week, I make the meat stock, I make the chicken, and then I can just grab that chicken really quick and cook something up with it. So instead of like grabbing a rotisserie chicken or something, I just grab the chicken that I've already cooked and deboned. Well, my husband usually debones it. Thanks, Jabez. So that's what I do for meats, and I always have meat stock. I put it in every meal that I can. I feed it to my baby, I feed it to my husband. That's what I do. And as far as vegetables, in the good weather, here in my privileged life in Philadelphia, I get Beyond Organic produce from a very local source 15 minutes away. And it's fantastic. And I love it. And I eat produce from my garden and from my neighbors' gardens because my garden is just getting started. So well, that is what we eat. As far as grains and carbohydrates, I don't eat them with every meal. Usually breakfast is just eggs. And if we're having a blessed breakfast, maybe a little pate with the eggs and some sauerkraut, or maybe a little scrapple. And there's usually no carb with breakfast. Usually I'll use a carb either in lunch or dinner, but not both. Just feels like not needed. So I'll do some rice or some bread that I made for myself. Usually we use rice here in the Yo home. So yeah, I wish that I had more locally grown rice, but there's just not a lot of rice farming happening in the US. But yeah, our family loves rice. So I will traditionally soak it, and I'll even toss in a little bit of whey or probiotic to it sometimes, just to help, prepare it a little bit more. So I'll do that with rice, or, traditionally, organically, locally grown grains are possible to have here. And I have bought some corn flour grain from a local farm here in Pennsylvania, and I just love being able to do that. Recently, I'm going to try to get into grinding my own grain because we have a friend with a mill. So we're gonna give it a try. Community mill. So that'll be fun. I think because I did GAPS for so long, it feels so natural to just have meals that are meat and vegetables. So it took me a while to figure out how to incorporate grains. It's sort of backwards, because I think most people, they have grains in every meal. What do we do for snacks? We don't have snacks. We don't have processed snacks. Snacks are like a trigger word for me. Basically, when people say snack, I feel like saying, well, oh, you mean processed food. That's what you mean by snack. You mean processed food. And I'm just not about it. Even healthy processed food, I just don't trust it. So if we are gonna have a snack, we're gonna have a piece of fruit or a cut of raw cheese from our farmer or a glass of milk. Very simple, 1-ingredient snacks. I'm not gonna lay out a platter of multiple things. That's all we need. Maybe a little peanut butter on our apple or something. Yeah, whenever I have a piece of fruit, I try to pair it with a fat because we don't want to spike our blood sugar. Excuse me. We don't want to spike our blood sugar with that fruit, and so I will serve that fruit with yogurt that's made with whole milk that I made myself, or put some peanut butter on it or something. Protein is also a trigger word for me because people use the word protein like a food category. But to me, as a nurse who spent a lot of time talking biology and microbiology, the word protein means a molecule that is a protein made of amino acids. And gluten is a protein. I mean, causing inflammation in children across the world. So what do you mean protein? And people, when they say protein, they think that an animal protein and a plant-based protein are all protein. Like protein is just some ambiguous thing, and you can get it from animals or from plants the same, and it's just not true. Not true. You cannot be nourished from animals and from plants in the same way. And I also don't like the word protein because it's sort of like breaking things down to a category that explains away food. And I prefer to speak about food in the whole form. I don't say my animal-based protein. I'll say my chicken, my locally pasture-raised Farmer Sam's chicken. And I will say pork, liver, and beef. I'm not going to say protein because to me, protein could mean anything. And I feel like people are obsessed with getting in their protein, whatever that means, and they'll like put protein powder and everything. And I gotta say, I mean, if you eat real food, you'll be eating protein, you'll be eating fats, you'll be eating sugars. I guess it's funny because I don't feel the same way about fat. I'll say fat because fat is more similar. Proteins are vastly different. Fats, there's saturated fats, there's unsaturated fats, but they're all fats. I don't know. I think they do the same or similar thing. Proteins feel like they're just different. So hopefully this was helpful to you to see exactly what my actual pantry and fridge and freezer looks like and counter. Oh, and of course, the last crowning piece on my counter is nourishing traditions. So I just display it here for all to see. So if anyone comes to my house, they can know exactly what kind of food we are cooking here. So I hope this was fun. And that has been the kitchen of River Yeo. Have a great day. If you like this kind of video, hit like and subscribe. I'm not going to do this very often unless you really gush in the comments because it takes time to edit this sort of thing. I usually do this sort of thing for my members, and but today I'm doing it for you, YouTube, so you're welcome. If you have any other ideas for videos you would like, if you beg and plead, I might give them to you, or I will more likely do a larger version of that video for my membership and then just get a little clip of it and maybe share it with you. check out the GAPS books, guys. This is just a quick reminder. Oh, this is my other favorite book. You should definitely check that out as well. But yes, great books. You should check them out. If you want to know about gut health, check them out. If you want to know about heart health, this is the book to start with. Put your heart in your mouth. So that is all for now. Have a great day. Bye.